need to understand that when you are trying to succeed, sometimes you will be tested. And James Cook, the author of the best-selling book New York Times bestseller, titled Startup Entrepreneur, he said you will be tested sorely. Things will go wrong, all kinds of things, delays, disappointments, setback, all kinds of things. But if you persist, like William Lear said, the inventor of the Lear jet, if you persist, things will always improve. So it's for you to maintain a mindset that is positive at all times, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter how difficult things look, no matter how impossible things look. And this is not about motivational speaking now. I'm telling you, this is the mindset you have to have. A mindset that refuses to be defeated. If you don't maintain that kind of mindset, you will not succeed with any of the web marketing ideas I'm giving you here. You will not succeed in finding buyers and convincing them to buy and making the sale. Convincing a person to buy and getting the person to agree to send money doesn't mean you've made money. It's only when you see the money drop into your account, quote unquote, drop into your account, that you've made money. Okay, and then of course you don't want to have a chargeback where the client changing their mind or having buyer's remorse. So you want to also go ahead and deliver the product or the solution in a satisfactory manner. So you need to be able to deal with when things seem to be going wrong, so that you ensure that you actually close the sale and keep the sale closed. Now, let me just share the story. I don't want to ramble. Now, so this happened in November 2012. All right, so what I'm going to describe to you is what happened after I had an inquiry. It was my very first, it ended up being my very first international sale, as I said earlier. And it was to a gentleman based in an organization in Canada, French-speaking Canada specifically. All right, but he was a bilingual person, so he could speak English. All right, so but at that time I was still using a BlackBerry, so you try and picture what this meant. So now the gentleman has spoken with me. He called me up on phone. I remember that day I was actually visiting my parents, and he called me on phone and spoke with me for about 15 minutes, telling me that he had watched my video demonstration, the one you see at the background there, for the ration formulator, and he was convinced it would be useful for feed formulation that they needed to do for animals on what he called a network of farms that they had. It was only later on that he broke it down and I understood the kind of organization he represented. He was actually the project manager, but I'll give you details of that later on. So what happened was that at 11 p.m. that night, I sent him details of how to make payment. We had agreed on phone, and I said, okay, when I get back home, I'm not at home at the moment, I'll log on and I'll send you details of how to make payment. Now, the thing is, even the payment he needed to make wasn't something that was straightforward, because at this time, I had no means of receiving payment. At that time, the Nigerian banks had not come up with all these systems that we now use, where, for instance, I receive money from people internationally directly into my account from Western Union. Then I have the other means, of course, you can receive money through wire transfer directly to a domiciliary account, all those kinds of things. We didn't have all that at that time. We didn't even have debit cards to make purchases on the web. 2012, check. So I had to tell him, well, I don't know how else I can receive money from you other than for you to send payment through my brother-in-law who is in London. So you spend payment to his PayPal address, all right, and then he will tell me he's received it, and then I'll go ahead and send you the product. That was, so you can imagine, like, it was 2 levels of trust I was asking people to kind of give me in order to do business with me back then. They first of all had to agree to send money to me and believe that they will get the product, that I had the product. Then they secondly had to believe that if they send a payment through a person they had not spoken to, who they did not know, who they had never seen, that the money will get to me, or that I will acknowledge that the money got to me, and then I will still do what I promised. So you can imagine it took major leaps of faith at that time for people to do business with me, especially the international buyers. All right, so he sent the money, believe it or not, less than 1 hour after I sent it. So remember, he's in North America, right? So at 11 p.m., that would have been about maybe like 5 p.m. at their time, and so he sent the payment. It was $63. Now, the next morning, I contacted, because I couldn't call my brother-in-law in the middle of the night. So he was in the UK, as I said. I called him up the next morning, and he confirmed to me that the payment had been received, that it was $63 as agreed. So then I had 2 problems. That was when the reality hit me. Because when we spoke on phone, I had established that he knew that I was based in Nigeria. All right, and he had said that let me tell you the way he described, he spoke to me. He said, I know you are in Nigeria, all right, and I know that they do 419 in Nigeria. I've heard that 419 is something that's done in Nigeria. There's a lot of scams, but I'm convinced that if I send you money, you will not scam me. I'm convinced that you're honest and you're going to do this. I mean, can you imagine that? Why would a person just conclude like that and call you? Never met me before, never heard about me before, only saw my stuff on the web. So I am sure, just like other people that have done business with me, he saw that my presence on the web was just not something small. I mean, he's talking to me in 2012. I've been online since 2005. Think about it. And I put up articles, and I had more than 2,000 articles as of that time. I had a lot of stuff republished across different platforms on the web. You could Google my name and you will be seeing like up to 15 pages of Google results, all exclusively me. So I believe that's what made him. I cannot say for sure, but I do believe, because a lot of other people I've spoken with since then who bought from me have shared the same sentiment. This is why I tell people all the time that I believe that article marketing on the web is a key, timeless strategy to gaining what you call good quality pre-qualified prospects, to attracting them, because it's something that you build on whatever it is you put on the day before. And so you no matter what you do, you continue to grow. You grow in stature on the web, so long as you're putting out good quality content. It's going to speak for you by the time somebody's trying to check you out. They try to do a background check on you using Google, and what they will see will inspire so much confidence and trust that when they come to you, they'll be ready to buy. Keep this in mind. All right. So that was really what influenced him, I believe, and made him to just go ahead and do that payment so quickly. All right. And that made me doubly determined that I was going to ensure that nothing stopped me from getting the spreadsheet application to him within the 24 hours I had promised. So, but I soon discovered I had problems to contend with. First of all, my BlackBerry smartphone battery was too weak and could not be charged due to a broken charging point. You see, so the guys who did the repair, who were doing the repairs for me, it was a Friday. Traffic to that end was a bit prohibitive, so it meant I could not use the modem of the because I use my smartphones as modems, as hotspots. At that time, BlackBerry was used as a modem. I was tethered as a tethered modem. All right, okay, tethered hotspot. So that was what I was using. I would connect it to the laptop and I would browse with it. But unfortunately, like I said, the charging point was bad, so that wasn't working. I couldn't therefore connect to the internet to send him the product. Then the thing to make things worse, the next morning I actually found out that this one is something for the books. 3 of my car's 4 tires. This was a car I was just trying to get along. I was just a struggling guy. 3 of my car's 4 tires had been knife slashed right where it was parked the night before. Now I don't want to go into details of who did it and why. The point is, somebody felt aggrieved enough with me to go to my car and slash 3 of my 4 car tires with a knife. It was the worst kind of reality that could actually hit me at that point. I needed to get out and drive down, because remember, it was going to be a Saturday. So it was a Saturday. So I needed to drive out. I couldn't now use the car. So I had to just call the vulcanizer and forget about that. And I went hunting for petrol to run the generator so I could prepare. You see, because I had not even personalized the software for him. Normally, those of you who have bought from me, you know that what I do is that I take the software and I input the personal details, okay, or business details of the buyer. So each copy of the software that goes out is personalized for the user. All right, I put in your logo, I can put in a photo of your premises or whatever, put in your personal details, your contact information, do the license. So all of that I needed to do. I hadn't done that, so I went out to get petrol. All right, but it was already clear that it was going to be a very tough day for me. Now, but one of the things, and I'm sharing this with you because I want you to understand, some people have the habit of saying devil, village people, evil spirit, demon, what do I call it again? All kinds of, they talk of all these imaginary spiritual things. Sometimes it's just life. Life is just, you see, there are universal forces that are designed to help you grow to be your best self. And in order for them to help you to be your best self, challenges will be thrown your way, which you have to surmount if you want to grow to the next level of maturity. This is what I found out. And in my life is proof of it. I have responded to every challenge thrown at me by facing it squarely and dealing with it without thinking of attributing any extraneous influences to it. If they were there, I refused to acknowledge them and instead focused on dealing with the challenge that was thrown at me, and I overcame every single time. And every time I overcame, I became a better version of myself. That is why I'm convinced that all these people making noise about village people, evil spirit, devil, demons, and all that, they're just being escapist. Nothing can stop you if you connect with the creator and you remain focused on achieving the goal you've told the creator you want to achieve. All you have to do is resolve in your mind that this is my goal, I'm going to get it, and believe that the creator is on my side. That is all. And you keep going with persistence. But some people don't understand they need to do that. They keep attributing all kinds of nonsense. You cannot say the Almighty God, the omnipotent God, in other words, the all-powerful God, is on your side, that you believe in that God, and then you now tell me that somebody was successful in bringing you down. It's impossible. The all-powerful God cannot be on your side, and then any other human being who is not as great as the all-powerful God will have an impact negatively on you. It is impossible. So make up your mind what you believe. I don't want to preach, but I needed to say that. So that was the mindset, that I use, and I use all the time in dealing with challenges that come my way. So I zeroed my mind and I walked into a neighborhood cyber cafe and did my gallant best, and that's where I would describe it, to endure the ordeal of punching the keyboard. Believe me, the keyboard was caked with dust. Okay, in order to download a copy of the software that I made for an earlier buyer. Remember, I couldn't. You see, I wanted to get petrol, because I didn't mention that I didn't eventually get petrol. It was one of those periods when you had a lot of fuel scarcity. So I had to go into the cafe, and try to use one of their systems. I logged onto the web, okay, and unfortunately, most of the cafe laptops and computers had keyboards that were just a joke. So anyway, I did my best. I was just pointing. I really had to use so much force to press each key. Eventually, I downloaded what I needed, and couldn't get in. So all I did was just send the software to him like that. In other words, with somebody else's details. Can you imagine? I apologized and I told him I would send him his own copy on the Monday following. So 48 hours later, he wrote to me saying that he was finding the app interesting as he was getting results along the lines of what he'd expected. So for me, that gave me a great feeling of fulfillment. But it also was what gave me the confidence to then tell my brother-in-law to send the money that the man has sent in to me through my other sister who was in Nigeria. All right, so I got the money, and then subsequently our relationship went further. This gentleman, Ronald V, I'll call him Ronald V. I don't want to mention his full name just for privacy. He told me then that in our interactions, he will call me sometimes. We'll speak for 1 hour. He was white, okay, and he was, like I said, French-speaking Canadian. I speak French, but we conversed in English 90% of the time. And believe me, at that time, my French was not even so smooth as of. But by the time I started living in Benin Republic, I was able to. So I could speak French, but not so fluently, and I could not comprehend the accent of the Caucasian French speaker. Was a bit different for me. I had learned from Cameroonians and Francophone Africans, so it wasn't easy for me to communicate kind of fluently. So, but I could read and write competently at that time in French. So anyway, we spoke a lot in English, and sometimes we would have phone conversation lasting over an hour, discussing a variety of things regarding the software, regarding the farm business he was running, and all that. It was more of like a kind of organic farm for a group of monks. He was the project manager for that organization, and they were called ODM, Order de Matrice. All right, this was something I found out later. What happened was I asked him what the meaning of ODM, which he had filled in my web form, was. All right, and he told me it was Order de Matrice, and he said they were a group of monks living, and they were producing their own food. They had their own farm. They grew everything they ate, and he was telling me that he then signed off as Father Ronald, telling me he was actually a Reverend Father. Now, this was the guy that had spoken with me. He had never said anything along the lines of religion all through our conversations, talking very excitedly and all that. And it was impressive to see that he was able to just interact with me without bringing religion into the discussion at all. It was very eye-opening for me. I never experienced that before. All right. So anyway, when I got the opportunity to write the international paper that some of you have received from me about how my software is being used by people to formulate feed, all right, for the NGO in Holland, what do you call them now? CTA.int, that's the website. They wanted me to kind of give them evidence that the farmers I claimed were buying from me were real farmers. And I went further to ask them. Well, I have one particular farmer who I'm very forthcoming with a lot of email feedback on the usefulness of my software, and they said okay, they would like to know. I asked them, I told them I was going to send that, and they said that was no problem. So I actually got to get consent from Ronald V if I could use some of his emails in the paper I was writing, and he said it was no problem. So today, in the copy of the paper, if any of you gets it, you see that there are transcripts, or how to put it now. No, there's a reproduced version of some of the emails that he was sending me, describing how the software was being used for their farm and how it was helping them. All right. So he gave me the go ahead to make references to examples he provided in his emails about how my software had been helping him, and it was great. Now, the approach they are using is something that I believe that our agro-based communities in Nigeria or Africa can use, and I plan to talk about that later. So, but for me, you agree with me that his willingness to let me use his emails and his communication with me in a public domain for writing a paper like that must have been influenced by the fact that I actually fulfilled my promise of getting his application to him as and when due. Even though, yes, I had to first of all start by sending him somebody else's copy before I now did his own personalized one for him. The truth is, when I was going through the problems and trying to resolve them, I was poking fun of myself to the surprise of people around me. That's another thing. I told you about the mindset you have got to maintain. You've got to stay positive, the PME, positive mental attitude. I told people that what happened to me and how I was trying to find my goal, regardless how I was trying to achieve my goal, regardless of what happened to me, was the way that people need to be. Okay, if they want to achieve success in their lives, you must find a way as much as possible to make light of whatever adversity you are going through. All right, and then you must always focus on getting the result you have set your mind on without being discouraged. It's unfortunate that not many people are able to behave like this, but I'm telling you, the difference between people that succeed and people that fail is the ability to maintain this kind of mental attitude. Somebody told me that I have a very it was an elder told me at that time when the things were happening to me one after the other, all the things were going wrong. Imagine the phone went bad, the tires got punched, and all those things happening. The person was saying that it's like I had so many bad things happen to me. You should watch out to what people, and all that. I told her about what they say about evil spirits and all those things. I told her, I said, I've gone way beyond the stage when any such experience can bother me in any way. In fact, I use them in a lot of the talks I give and the discussion with people, and even my daily interactions, as well as in my write-ups, to share insights about how to overcome adversity. To achieve your goals, no matter what. I feel bad. I told her that I feel bad that she was seeing what happened to me the way she was, because for me, those experiences that she was describing only made me stronger. And I told her that I embrace such visitations of adversity whenever they choose to occur, because I know that I will win and that I will be better off in the end. Like I said at the beginning, you become a better version of yourself. That's why I can always reflect on them when they're happening to me, and I laugh, because the truth is, that's just it. They are just passing phases. They cannot define me. So I've won the confidence and trust of buyers from in and out of Africa that I've never met with before, even up till this day. And I've resolved that is how I'm going to continue to live my life, because I found out that is what works. No matter what your circumstances are, it is your attitude, mentally and otherwise, that determines your outcomes, not the things that happen to you. So you become better and stronger all the time if you continue to maintain a positive mental attitude. That's the key to dealing with anything that goes wrong in your life. Okay, so whenever things are not going the way you want, like Bob Dubin will say, steel yourself. STEEL. Stainless steel. Steel yourself. Right. Make sure you ride that storm with a smile on your face, even as you work hard to turn things around for the better. You succeed faster and better when you do so. I wish you well.